What's up? You Eurovision fools, Matt, Roy, and Gabe, your favorite Eurovision channel. I should have said your favorite Junior Eurovision channel at least one more time tonight, because that's what we are here for. The results are in. Junior Eurovision 2021 has come to a close just a couple of minutes ago, and we do have a winner. And of course, we are here to dissect the results and talk it through. I have, as pointed out, my team here with me, the A team. Gabe, what are your thoughts without going too much into it? You excited about tonight's show?
So I think there were some big winners and some big losers today. The big winners were all performers. The standard was so good in terms of vocals. They really did a great job. One thing I thought was really nice was there were a couple of times in a couple of performances where you could tell people got a bit nervous. Every single one of them rebounded and finished strongly. Every single one of them came through it and were clearly enjoying themselves. So I would just want to credit the organizers and the and the broadcasters for clearly creating an environment where these kids could enjoy themselves as well as perform. Like, it didn't feel like anybody was, super stressed. But I'll get into that later. Overall, I thought great show. Great to see a new winner, a new country winning as well. So that's really exciting.
And we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But from the hosting nation of the Eurovision Song Contest 2021, Roy, you ready? How you feel?
Yeah, it was a really cool show. Like, I really enjoyed seeing all the kids perform, and especially after they finished their performances, because they all seemed so super happy that like they finally finished, and like this was such a dream for them. And I'm really happy that they could all be there together physically, because in these times it's kind of insecure as well. So yeah, it was a really amazing show, and overall the songs were really good as well. And I had a great time watching this show, and France did a really good job, I think.
Yes, I agree with you. Now, I will say, I mean, I love the show overall. I think it was done really well. Ran a little over, which is fine, I'd rather have it over than too short, I guess. The only thing I will say, I'm not necessarily, I know we're very close to Christmas, but I wish we would have not a Christmas theme at Junior, because I feel like it should be its own thing. But that's just my personal opinion. It's not like that big of a deal, but, because there's holiday Christmas stuff everywhere. So I don't necessarily think that Junior or anything like that should be kind of combined with that. But knowing it was so late, maybe it makes sense. But if it were up to me, that would have been a separate kind of thing. But that's just not like that. The end of the world. But yes, we do have a winner. So everyone in the chat, thank you for joining. And of course, we're going to talk to you, answer your questions, and would love to hear your thoughts as well. But in the beginning, of course, we're going to talk quickly about the winner, and then Roy, Gabe, and I will share our top 10 post-contest. I know Roy and Gabe, I believe both. Actually, Roy, I know you listened to the songs before. Gabe, have you listened to the songs pre?
I went in totally blind. Okay. Deliberately avoided it. Didn't listen to anything. Although the ranking that I sent you to, it's actually changed a bit since then. And I've thought about it a bit more.
Yeah. So I listened to 5 songs. So I wanted to do reaction videos. I made it for the first 5 songs, and then so the rest I didn't get to. So I knew 5 of them, and I only remembered 2. So it was almost brand new to me. So that was the situation. But of course, we gotta talk about the winner first, without saying where it ended up in your top 10. Of course, Armenia, for the very first time, wins the Junior Eurovision Song Contest. I mean, they haven't won the adult version either. So the first time they won something with Qami, and Malena won. This was a nail biter, but she did really well with the juries. And if I'm not mistaken, she won the televote. I mean, how can you not be happy? She obviously was crying for her encore. She couldn't even sing. It was so touching, and it's a big deal for Armenia. I mean, I am over the moon, and without going too much into it, I think it's a very well-deserved winner. It was the second song I listened to. It was one of the 5 songs I listened to, and I was like, this has winner quality, because it was so slick and so well done. I said, if they're going to get that nail live, this is a contender, and they did. They delivered, and I am over the moon. Roy, what are your thoughts when you saw, because we were kind of sitting here together watching it. Keep talking, because I forgot to plug in my laptop.
Okay, Roy, you go first.
Yeah, I honestly, I really loved the Armenian performance. I thought it was very slick. When I heard the studio version of this song, I immediately thought, okay, this could go straight on a radio station, and you wouldn't even know that it was by a junior. You would think that's by a major artist that sang this song. And I was a bit worried for the live performance, maybe that the slickness of the song might hinder it, and that like maybe with a little bit of a lesser live vocal that it would fall apart. But gladly, she was really good live, and overall, I thought the performance was really good, and it's a well-deserved winner of this competition.
Yeah. And Gabe, I have to call you out. You said it was the first time they won. It's the second time, according to the
sorry, my fault.
Because yeah, he told me it's the first time that
I'm a bad Eurovision fan.
And
I'm
now
a bad
like
Eurovision fan, and I've brought shame upon you all. I apologize.
I only started watching Junior 3 years ago, I think, or like paid attention to it. So I only know the 2 Polish and the French winner.
I started watching when Kazakhstan joined.
Oh
God. I watched it literally from the first edition because, you know, in the Netherlands, you grow up watching Junior Eurovision.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I didn't watch all of them, but
okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, Gabe, your thoughts, the winner, like you did say you were happy, of course.
So I'm pleased it's a good winner. I thought it was nice. You know, it was a nice song, well performed. Like I say, I thought radio friendly was definitely the impression I got. I didn't think it was, and I thought the vocal performance was really good. I didn't think it was the best song of the night, personally, for me. But it was sort of, I had in my mind sort of a big box of songs that I hoped would do well, or songs I'd be happy if they won. And I ended up with like 12 or 13 songs in there. And Armenia was in there, and it made it into my top 10 as well.
Okay.
So overall, I'm pretty happy.
Okay.
I just, you know, I just think that if I was going to say one thing, I would say that they could have written a bit more of a crescendo in towards the end of the song, but that's okay.
I can see where you're coming from, but that's a good transition. Sean, it's funny. Breaking news: Azerbaijan has already buggered off for 22. We're gonna just talk about it in just a moment. But before we get to all the details, I think the 3 of us should go ahead and share our top 10 with the quick thoughts in between. Not too much time because we don't want to spend an hour just going over that. But just real quick, our top 10 from 10th to first place. And Gabe, you go first. Who was your 10th place?
Okay, so my 10th place was Serbia. And sorry, should I just go through all of them?
Yeah, no, just say Serbia. Why? What do you like about the song? But
Serbia, I thought the staging concept was really good. It was nicely sung. It was a bit slow. It's like the songwriting, I thought, let it down a little bit. It just, it was a bit too slow. And I think those girls could have had a bit, they could have given them something a bit more to work with. 9th, I had Germany. Kind of the same
Wait. No, we're going run.
Oh, 10, 9. Okay, I got you. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Roy, your 1 point.
My 10th place went to Russia. I felt really bad for her that her vocals, I think she had like an inflammation on her vocal cords tonight. So the song didn't sound as good as it could have been. But like before the contest, I thought this would be one of the big contenders to maybe win. But unfortunately, the live performance wasn't as amazing as I had hoped or as I had expected. And it just fell down the ranking a little bit for me. But, you know, there's 14 songs that I wanted to have in this top 10, and Russia made it on number 10 for me.
Yeah. My 10th place, aka 1 point, goes to Kazakhstan. And Kazakhstan was, I probably would have not been my top 10, but number 1, the vocals for that singer, he was on point. That really captivated me. And there was this moment, and it's just this tiny thing, and it got me all emotional. And I forgot the kid in the wheelchair. He was, I think, when they first started singing the song, they kind of just pointed at him, and he was waving with his foot. And it just almost got me like, I was like, oh my God, this is so hard to watch, but it just was so inspiring. And there was something about this thing that just like, I don't think I necessarily liked the song as much, but the vocals and the whole thing just really got, you know, it really touched me. So I had to put it in my top 10. So 10th, 1 point to Kazakhstan from me. Gabe, who is your, well, we know by now, your 9th place? Yes, 2 points.
My 9th place was Germany. I thought it was, again, I think it came, the problem of being quite inoffensive in terms of the song. Well performed. It was a really nice way to start the show, you know, like there was sort of this positive energy. You know, it's kind of a bit catchy. It was a bit of fun and bouncy. And it put me in a really good mood for the rest of the show, especially somebody coming in knowing nothing. And with Junior Eurovision, I'm always worried because you can get a real mix of different things.
Yes.
And you never quite know what you're going to get. but they really, it was a really nice start to the show. It made me relax, made me sort of put me in a good mood. And so for that reason, it just got in there.
A good beginner, I guess. It puts you in the right mood. Roy, what's your second place? Your ninth place? 2 points.
My ninth place is Georgia. And kind of similar reasons that Gabe just mentioned, it really just put a smile on my face. And like they were so quirky together on that stage, and it was so colorful. And I was just having a really lovely time just dancing along onto the song. And I mentioned this before, I think. If I were to be a junior and I could compete at Junior Eurovision, that is exactly the type of song that I would want. It just fits the old school Junior Eurovision vibe so well. And yeah, I just really loved it and put a massive smile on my face. So I put it ninth.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good ninth place. My ninth place is actually for Ukraine. I think that she had a fantastic live performance. Her vocals are great. The song is very like the kind of song that something I expect, the sound I expect from. Like, I think Belarus had something similar a year or two ago, the sound, and it really works for me. I thought it was just well performed, well executed. So it had to be in my top 10. So 2 points to Ukraine from me. 8th place for Gabe, 3 points. Who is it?
Kazakhstan. And the public agreed with me on this one, since Kazakhstan also came 8th in the contest. I actually had the same thought as you, Matt. I thought the live vocal was, in my opinion, the best of the night. Like the notes, they were so clear, so on point, perfectly in tune. So great job. Also, another thing I noticed was that you could see during the performance he was fiddling with his earpiece. His earpiece actually fell out of his ear. He was hitting the big notes without being able to hear himself, which I think is super, like that's the sort of thing that professionals struggle with sometimes.
Yes.
I mean, we've seen that Roxanne's rehearsal, for example, this year is a good example of that, but he stayed completely on point through that. So I was really, really impressed by that.
Cool.
So another good result, and it is a matter of time, I am telling you, you cannot have, it is not a sustainable situation where you have a country that year after year is performing well in Junior Eurovision, is clearly accepted by the Eurovision family, as is shown by the results it gets from, gets votes from all over Europe.
I got to move on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Why is the EBU not? Let them in.
Let them in, right? We're going to talk about that later as well. I love your thinking there. Roy, your 8th place. 3 points.
Well, we might get a bit of controversy here. My 8th place is Armenia. Wow, everybody shocked. No, I thought it was a really nice song, and it really deserved to win, 100%. Like, that's besides the point. But just for me personally, it is not necessarily a song that I would put on a playlist and listen to myself. And I felt like in the show, it faded a little bit back towards the background. I had a few other highlights that I liked a bit more, but she performed it phenomenally, and it's still an amazing song, and they really wrote it very well. So it definitely had to be in my top 10. It's just not as high as maybe some other people would expect. But 8th place, I mean, I love so many songs, and 8th is still really good.
It's a top 10. That is all, that's already good stuff. My 8th place goes to, I forgot my list here. It is Portugal. I was so mad when I saw it like so far down on the jerseys. They got that wrong. I thought that yes, it has the very fado Portuguese expect, but it's just something. It's like he was a grown man and they shrunk him into a boy, or like a, and I was like, I thought it was so charming, and I'm so thrilled that it actually resonated with the televoters a whole lot because it just stood out. So overall, I think it finished 11th place, deserved the top 10. Portugal, job well done. 8th place from me, 3 points. Gabe, your 7th place.
My 7th place, France. Now, I think France have really got this formula down on Junior Eurovision. I think you can see a thread that runs through now their last 4 entries, actually, going back to Jamais Sans Toi. And to be honest, though, that's why it couldn't go any higher as well. It's a good Junior Eurovision song. It's fun. It's bouncy. They've really got that down, but it is formulaic. Year on year, they're delivering not the same product, but quite similar. Really well performed, lovely staging, but just a bit formulaic now on the songwriting side. I'd like to see them change it up next year a bit.
Okay. Roy, your 7th place.
Yes, my 7th place was for a song that was really well performed, and it really won me over with the live performance. Her vocals were amazing, and I'm talking about AZERBAIJAN. in the beginning, before going into the show, I already really liked how they transitioned from the just one of those days into the Azeri language that they used in the song, and it just sounded very nice, and she performed it insanely well. Overall, I think the song could have been a bit more interesting, like songwriting wise. It was a bit basic ballad kind of, but it was so well performed, and it really, yeah, I just keep singing it. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not a good singer. She definitely would perform it better, but yeah, I loved it. So it's 7th.
Yeah. So my 7th place goes to North Macedonia. I didn't expect that. There was it was at the end. I was like, I was kind of getting like, there were a few songs before that was kind of getting a little bored, but then North Macedonia brought me right back, and I thought that they did really well. I think yeah, 9th place overall. There was just something about it. I can't even put my finger on it, but it was a song I thoroughly enjoyed, and it was confusing because I think those were not dancers. It's a 4-member group, right? Because I was like, are these dancers? They just seem a little bit out of place, but I think they were just like not doing the lead vocals. I think kind of threw me off. The staging wasn't necessarily my favorite, but I did like the song quite a bit. So 7th place to North Macedonia. Moving on, 6th place, 5 points from Gabe goes to
Armenia.
Okay, all right, awesome. Not as high as like the actual results, but go ahead.
It got into the, like I said before, it got into that group of, well performed, nice staging. I thought her visual was the best of the night, just because I was watching it with a friend who couldn't really remember the songs too well, but he saw her again. And he was like, and he looked at like the sort of the makeup they did with the white lines and the rings and the hair and stuff, and he immediately remembered it. He immediately said, "Oh yeah, yeah." So I really like those kind of hooks and stuff. And it was as Roy said, strong performance and deserved winner in my view.
All right, Roy, 6th place.
My 6th place goes to the host nation of France. I think I can literally echo everything that Gabe said before about France. Like, they have been sending so much fun at Junior, and like every single song that they came out with was just perfectly suited for the competition. And this was no difference. I thought the staging was so well done. Like, I loved in the beginning, you had like this cuckoo's clock. Is that how you say it?
Cuckoo clock,
okay. Yeah, okay. You saw like the little bird popping out of the LED, and I thought it was such a cool little detail. And there were just so many little details in the staging. They thought it out so well. And he just has so much charisma, and with his enthusiasm, I loved it. France was really good. So yeah, 6th.
6th place. All right, my 6th place, I don't know why I'm yelling, goes to Italy. And it's, yes, I'm just saying, okay, here we go. They sent some rocky sound because, they won with rock, but it was not a copycat in any shape or form. It was a very different song, but I think it just worked really well. I love how they just really had like this very hard rock sound, but then it went to this pretty almost ballady sound. The transitions were done really well, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought this is going to do really well tonight. The fact that it only barely squeezed in the top 10 kind of surprised me. I thought it was really, really good. So just outside of my personal top 5, 6th place for Italy. That means we're moving on to our personal top 5s, starting with you, Gabe, which is, I guess, translated to 6 points. Who is it?
Albania.
From
me for 5th place. Now, there are a lot of things I really liked about this performance. I thought that effect at the start, where they had her name, and then the stage went dark and the whole thing collapsed. I thought that was a super cool effect. I love the words on the tables. The other thing I want to say, again, strong vocals, catchy chorus, but did you notice she had a bit of a moment in the bridge? Like it was like nerves just caught up with her a second. I think she missed a line, missed a few words. Immediately switched back on. Next shot, you can see she immediately bursts back into a big smile and then hammers out the last chorus. So recovered really well. So yeah, strong finish for me.
Wow, certainly higher than what happened at the contest, which is good. Roy, your 5th
Yeah,
place.
talking about that, in 5th, I have a song that literally rose the highest out of any of them, and it surprised me so much because the rehearsal clips I saw from them, I was like, no, this is not gonna work. And then I saw this live, like in its fullest, and I loved it so much. The entire concept was so cool. And I'm talking about Serbia. Yes, I know it's a bit
Yeah,
shocking.
It doesn't sound like a Roy song, which is very
No, it
interesting.
doesn't. It genuinely doesn't. It was like my second last, I think, going into the show. But it's my fifth now. Like, I really loved how you were just like in their little world, and they were like trying to pull each other in their worlds as well. And the entire song is about children's eyes, so you see the entire world through the eyes of the kids. And we saw their little world, and we were just all sucked into it. And I loved it so much, and it was so cute. And I don't know, I really liked the dancing as well. It was maybe a bit weird for some people, but I really love Serbia, and it's like a guilty pleasure, I guess.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Don't be guilty about it. They certainly tried something with the staging, so that was definitely entertaining. I agree with that. Well, my fifth place. Oops, hang on. Are we back? Yeah. My fifth place is actually, it may come as a surprise because it didn't do well with the juries or televotes that much. It's Ireland. I loved Ireland. I don't know what about that boy, but he was so into it. The energy he exuded, and like he got the energy from the audience. He was just jumping around. I liked the staging. I just loved the song, and it just really captivated me. I'm like, wow, this is one of the most fun songs of the night, and I just remembered it so well. And I am sad that it didn't do better because Ireland is not only struggling at the adult version, but now at the junior version as well. At least they didn't come last, I suppose. But that's not necessarily that great of a result. I thought this was fantastic. I don't know why the juries didn't like it better. But Ireland, you have my support. And it happened before. Ireland sends good songs, actually, Junior, that I like, and they never do well. So, oh well, story of my life. Anyways, we're approaching the top three, but first, let's go talk about the 7 points of fourth placers. Gabe, who's your fourth place?
For me, it is Portugal.
All right.
And to be honest, it could have been higher. I thought Portugal was charming, totally unique. His voice is so interesting, but it really suits this style. And I think I really appreciated the bravery of the song. Something that is perhaps not, especially given the general audience of Junior Eurovision, perhaps something that's not quite as accessible, and it paid off. The audience really appreciated it. And if it weren't for that disgraceful treatment that he got from the juries, it would have been really high up. So a thoroughly deserved left-hand finish. I just wish it could have been a little bit higher.
I concur. Roy.
My fourth place is Ireland. Yes, I really love this, and I hope Ireland can send something similar to adult Eurovision, like some sort of punk rocky song that's very fun, because that's what they're really good at, and it really showed. And it just fit him so well and his voice, and you could just see how much enthusiasm and how much fun he had on the stage performing it. I think the staging could have been a little bit better, perhaps. It felt a bit empty in some places, but I also really liked how it was kind of a bit of an old school feeling as well. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it, and his enthusiasm is probably the biggest selling factor, but it's also just a really enjoyable song. So yeah, fourth place for Ireland.
Yeah, I agree. There needs to be justice for, what's his name? Justice for, oh dear. Maiu Levi Lawlor.
Yes.
I should have thought that through right before. What? What do you say?
I didn't say anything. I said,
okay.
Yes, him.
Yes, him.
That guy.
I regretted that shout. Okay. My fourth place is actually, I think you, I agree. Was it you, Gabe? Is Albania. I put Albania in there as well. This is exactly what I want from Junior. And it is maybe not as overproduced as some of the other songs, but it felt just really fun. I love the staging. It was creative, how then all the moving boxes then all collapsed and made like letters, and they had the school set. It was just a lot. I guess she ran out of breath at some point, and there was some issues with the staging, I think, overall, but they tried. And I just really like the song. It's another song where I'm just like, I don't understand why this didn't do better. It deserved more, and I really, really liked it. But I'm only one person, and I didn't vote for it because it was my fourth place, because you can only vote for 3. So I guess I'm part of the problem. But yeah, I still think it was a great song. Fourth place for Albania. That means we're moving on to our personal top 3, which technically would have received votes from us. I don't know if you guys voted, but Gabe, who got 8 points? Your bronze medal, your third place.
Ireland.
Oh, we all agree.
Nice.
And I gotta agree with you that it's just the energy was great. Like, of all the songs tonight, that was the one that really gave me the most energy of like, I am having the time of my life. This is great. I don't care what happens. I'm having fun, and I want you to all have fun as well. So for me, I really enjoyed the energy and the nature of the song. Man, even though he got a bit out of breath, a bit overexcited, it didn't detract from it. And I think that's really important. You know, it really brought together, I thought, a nice package and deserved a lot better finish. I thought where it ended up was really harsh, and it surprised me. I didn't expect it to win, but I expected it to do well, maybe challenge for the left-hand side. So disappointing on the finishing position, but I thought really well done to Ireland this year.
Yes. Now, I'm glad we're all in agreement. So again, justice for Maiu, I'm naming it already. Maiu, Levi, Lawlor. Okay, so
it's okay, you try.
Roy, your third place, bronze medal,
My
8
third
points.
place is Ukraine. Yeah, I just love the vocals that she had. Like she was so on point, and like the staging of this entire song, it felt a bit like they knew they had a very strong song and a bit 1944-esque, like when they won with Adult Eurovision, also with the yellow and the red and the orange. But overall, it was just really demanding. Like she demanded my attention, and I just really wanted to pay attention and just really enjoy her vocals and enjoy the song in general. And yeah, it was just amazing. And I'm kind of surprised that it didn't do better in the juries. I don't know. I'd expected this to do better than Azerbaijan did, but you know, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, Azerbaijan did
Ukraine
really
is
well
my
with the
third.
juries. With the televote, it's not quite as high, but still good, you know. So
Yeah.
that's definitely put it over the edge, I guess, a little. Excuse me. My third place, 8 points, and actually went out voted after got a vote from me, and it may come as a surprise, but I'm thrilled with the outcome. It's Georgia. I love Georgia. I
Ooh.
loved everything about it. And I remember listening to the song before, and I was like, there's just something charming about it. And live, even though the staging was a little empty, the colors were great. And I said it before, I think in my reaction video, I feel like he reminds me, like if I was a kid again, that would be me on Junior. You know, his whole thing, which is in like, I wouldn't say awkward, but certainly like almost like a child, like you're not a professional. Like it felt like actually a child performing, and it was so charming. And I loved the song. I thought it was a song that I would love, and everyone else would be like, it would be forgotten. The fact that it finished in 4th place out of position 2. I'm like, how did that happen? I'm over the moon. Georgia deserves the world. I thought it was so good. I am excited. So 3rd place to Georgia from me. Now we're moving on. Down to the wire almost. 2nd place. Who's getting your 10 points, Gabe?
From me, Ukraine. And I think Roy said a lot of what I was thinking about the way it grabbed your attention. I actually thought this would win. I think strong performance, big, like, you know, James Bond theme kind of vibes. You know what I mean? Like that major chord in the sort of power ballad thing, the strong drums, powerful vocals, a lot of the like angles with the spotlights and stuff. I just thought this was so well done and deserved better. I thought if it didn't win, top 3 was likely. Obviously, I was wrong. Just shows that I have no taste, but that's my second favorite.
Well, no, that's, I mean, all 3 of us have it in our top 10. I have it a little lower than you guys, but I concur. She was fantastic. 2nd place for you, Roy.
Yes, I will say that like my first and my second are kind of interchangeable. I love them very much, both. But my second place is Portugal. I am over the moon that it got so many televote points. I loved it so much. This is like, it was just him on stage. Like we didn't listen to his song, we didn't see a performance, we saw a piece of him. He just was everything, and like this fit him so well. And I'm so happy that Portugal sent something like this, because I know people will say, "Oh, this doesn't fit Junior, and this doesn't fit," you know, the thing what you usually send to Junior Eurovision. But I just really love that they just looked for an artist and they were like, well, we're gonna write the best song possible for you, that you can start your career, that you can have the best possible way of getting into the spotlight. And yeah, I really hope to see him back sometime. I just really loved it. Yeah, it's amazing.
All right. So my second place, and my top 2 are basically the same, right? So I don't know how I had decided, but I did it somehow. But my second place, 10 points go to Qami Qami. I love the winner. I love it, love it, love it. And I hear what you guys are saying. Maybe it's like, but I wish it would have. I think you said a bigger crescendo at the end. I wish that would have been something a little bit more like boom at the very end. But other than that, I just love the feel. I was like, if they get the staging right, it's one of the 3 or 4 songs that 5 songs that I listened to before the contest. I'm like, if they stage this right, this could go really far, could potentially win. And sure enough, it won the televote, I think, and was in the 3rd or 4th with the juries. But the top 3 were so close to each other, you know, so it was almost a tie. But I love the whole vibe of it. Initially, I was worried. I hope they're not going to do this whole thing where they're almost over sexualizing this little kid with, like, you know, the outfit and all that stuff. But they did it very well there. So I was a big fan, and I am thrilled that Armenia won this. I couldn't have been happier. So silver medal from me. Basically gold, but I had to kind of rank them somehow. So I'll explain in a second. Gabe, the moment of truth. Who is your winner? Who is getting your 12 points?
So my number 1 this year was Italy. And again, I thought it would do really well. I thought, even though I think maybe slightly nervous on the vocals, I think they should have turned up her microphone a little bit, to be honest. I thought the song was really strong, powerful, really had like a distinct feeling of, I listened to it and I thought, like, and not just because they were singing in Italian, but because of the nature of the song, I was like, this feels like authentically like Italian pop music, the kind of thing I know is popular in Italy. And so it was just, so because of that, for me, it felt like a really complete package. I loved the staging. I thought, you know, the way they used the shaking of the camera and stuff to try and project that energy, I thought it was great. So for me, it was my number 1. A stronger vocal performance and, you know, maybe just a little less nerves. And I think it would have been even further clear of the rest. So great job, Italy.
All right. So, Roy, tell us, who is at the
Yes.
top of your list? I know you said the top 2 kind of interchangeably, so, but who did you end up putting at all the way at the top?
I'm curious if people have this correctly, but my number 1 was North Macedonia. Yes, I really love that song. It is so nice how you go from the verses. You have like the calling home, and then you like roll into the chorus, and it's a very smooth transition from the like pre-chorus to the chorus, I guess. And then you have that drop that surprises again with like the ethnic flavors, and it felt very Balkan-esque and North Macedonian in that sense. And they performed it insanely well. I thought the 2 guys had a very much charisma, and the 2 dancers. I can get that you say that it felt a bit out of place, but I don't know. It just felt like they were having a wonderful time together. And yeah, I guess it's like with Portugal, the only one that I would listen to after this Junior Eurovision. I just really love it, and I was just vibing, and I was just dancing, I guess, to this song. And yeah, it's my favorite.
All right. Well, then it's time for me to share my number 1, my personal winner. And sorry if I'm predictable this year, which is not always the case, but my number 1, Tic Tac. Friends, it gave me so much energy. And I hear what your criticisms had, Gabe and Roy, for the song. I hear it, but it still works for me. This is the song that came on and it immediately grabbed me. I love the staging, like how all these dancers up there. It usually seems very silly, but then almost worked. It almost felt like there were all these kids dancing, and I love the choreography. And when this came on, I just was like, oh yes. And again, I was over the moon when my top 2 were so high. France up to 3rd place in the end, but I mean, I cannot ask for more in the end. I thought they're going to do better in the televote, actually, so I'm more with the juries on that one. But I couldn't. I was so happy with the winner as well. So when I saw those 2, one of them would win, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. But yes, I loved France. I loved Armenia, and I agree with the results overall, for the most part, at least. So there you have it. Gabe has Italy as number 1. Roy had I forgot already. What's your number 1 again? North Macedonia. North Macedonia, forgive me. And then I had France. So those were our top 10. And guys, I have to address the elephant in the room here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Either no one or had Poland in the top 10. Did anyone have Poland in the top 10? This is awkward. because the same thing happened when we did a video earlier for Eurovision. Nobody had
Oh,
Italy
yeah,
in the top 10,
Italy.
and then they
Yes.
ended up winning. And unless you have to address it, because Poland did really well with the juries and televoters. I can only say the song was really good to me. It was fine. Let me check my list here. They were in 12th place for me. It's just the kind of, she was the best part of the song. The song was good. I just didn't remember it as much as some of the others. It didn't stick. And that was my problem, I think, to me. So that's why. But I had no issues with it. She was great. The song was a little bit underwhelming, maybe melodically. So that's why I didn't have it in there. But hey, we were overruled clearly. What about you guys?
So I thought that it was, again, I thought it was really strong. Came very close to my top 10. The one issue that I found with that song is I think the songwriting, the way the song was written was not great, because she had this really nice, clear, like, cut through when it was the higher bits, but in the lower range, her voice just disappeared into the mix too much. And I think whoever wrote that song perhaps didn't quite adapt it to her well enough, because I would have kept her in the higher range. Because it felt like she had sort of room to spare above, but she was really pushing it at the below. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I found really funny about this that I just wanted to mention is you could tell when they were doing the interview, she definitely lives like in or near London. You could tell every now and then she'd say something and just go, she's in like you could just tell that every now and then she'd say something in a super like Londoner accent, which I found really funny. It would be like sort of standard, like slightly American, you know, sort of person, the kind of accent that people get when they're learning English as a second language, because they consume a lot of American media. And then suddenly she'd just come out with something and I was like, British. But no, it just missed out. I think with a slightly better, if they'd done the vocals slightly better and written it more for her, she would have got through. But we're going to see this girl again. She's going to be in Eurovision in the future, 100%. So we just have to wait for that.
Yes. Poland is just doing really well at Junior as of late. They somehow figured it out. And some people saying it's, just a diaspora, but I don't believe that's to be the case, because look at them last year. They didn't do as well in the televote, online vote, whatever you want to call it. So I think there is just the fact that people like the song. Is there always something about it? Maybe, but it's just not enough to do well. Otherwise, France wouldn't have won by landslide last year, or some other countries at least. I'm referring solely to the online vote right now, by the way. Which then leads me to the next question. Gabe or I can answer this. How do you feel about the way the online vote is set up at Junior Eurovision? Do you think this is a really good method to limit the friendly neighborly voting, or not really? In case people don't know how it works, you can vote. You have to vote for 3 songs. So you cannot just vote, okay, I'm going to vote for Poland and then I'm done. You have to vote for at least 3 countries. But you can vote for your own country as well, technically, I guess. So it's just one big online vote. How do you guys feel about this? You like this, or you think that would work at the adult version?
At first, I wasn't that much of a fan of it when it was first introduced. But right now, I think it is in quite a good place. They have implemented a new kind of formula that is mathematical. Hey, I'm a math nerd. Let's go. And it kind of limits the power votes that you really have. People voting a lot for Poland and a lot of other songs getting scrambled with it that just they know is not going to win, so that their favorite is going to win. That is kind of the icky thing about it. You just want to vote for your favorite, so you pick the 2 ones that you think will end up in last place or something to have the points, which is not the best. But I also get that you really want to have the kids vote for multiple songs and not just one. And I mean, that it's online is definitely a good thing, because Junior shouldn't be paying to cast a vote for their favorite song. That would be stupid.
How do you feel about it, Gabe?
I agree with Roy's points. I think it's improved a lot this year. It's got a lot better. The problem that we had, some of the problems we've had in the past have been, with that kind of thing, have been very much removed. And it's a lot more difficult to vote many times over as well. The one thing I would say, actually, which is a good positive thing specifically for Junior Eurovision, is that this system still ensures that the favorite songs reach to the top, but it also guarantees that everyone gets at least a decent chunk of points. Because if you're at Junior Eurovision, especially now they don't do the automatic 12 points for everyone thing, you really don't want people going home with like 3 points. Like that's so demoralizing. And these are kids, and the online vote is a really good way of showing, hey, people liked my song. And I did get a good bunch of points from the public. So even if the jury vote doesn't go great, you've got that. So actually, I think it's important. We have to remember at the end of the day that these are kids, and taking measures to encourage them and make sure it's a positive experience for them is so, so important. This is not adult Eurovision, and treating it like adult Eurovision does a disservice to everybody who's involved.
So interesting. And everyone in the chat, get your question ready, because then we're gonna answer them at ES United in the chat, by the way. So one thing I think I briefly talked about is one thing I didn't like about tonight's show, and it just I'm gonna have to dig deeper a little, is how in 2009 at the adult version we brought back the juries because the purpose was because the televoting was at that point, and you can even still make the case today, a little bit flawed in terms of, how points being distributed amongst, neighbors, diaspora, all of that stuff, right? So, and I've been and still am a big proponent of the juries at the adult version. And I remember one of our former members, Zach, wrote a really nice article about why Junior Eurovision rocks. That's like 4 years ago. And he did point out that there is very little to no political voting happening. Based of the points came in. When you look at the votes today, this year is for sure, from the juries, even though France ended up on top, when you see the points given by countries, they still voted like the way they voted at the adult version, where Kazakhstan gives Russia 12 points and Russia gives Kazakhstan 12 points. Albania, North Macedonia give each other high points. So, and with a high number of certain, and that doesn't apply to every country. Some were, fair. And France and Poland, they receive points from most countries. So the best song ends up on top. But I'm concerned that some countries got a push based on these friendly votes. And I don't think Junior should stand for that, in my view. Do you think, guys, in my view, that juries are at this point not needed at the Junior contest based on what we've watched, or you think there is still a place for them? Do they need to get fixed, or am I overreacting even? Do you guys have any thoughts?
Yeah, it definitely needs to be fixed in some sort of way, because it was very obvious for what some countries voted, and I don't know how they can fix it. I guess they need to address it to all of the jurors. I think what they're doing now is like to have 2 juniors together with 2 adults or something like that. Maybe it should be all juniors, just young artists voting. But yeah, I don't know. It did feel a bit icky with the jury votes. And another thing that I really noticed is that the people in the studio or in the audience were like booing whenever France didn't get many high points. That is something that bothered me. Another thing, a thing that I did like is that sometimes you see juries kind of tanking other fan favorites, right? Or just favorites in general. And I felt like this time that wasn't really much the case, because I think France gave Armenia quite high points, Poland quite high points. And I thought that was quite kind of nice to see. But yeah, it definitely needs a revamp, because there was a lot of issues going on really with it.
Yeah. Real quick, just before you talk, Gabe, to point out, somebody said it's in the juries there are 3 adults and 2 juniors. I would actually more side with more juniors than adults, potentially even just juniors, if it were up to me. Granted, then you can say, well, the juniors then being dictated by the adults how to vote, all of that stuff. But yeah, so go ahead, Gabe. Just wanted to throw that in there.
So I was going to say, I think it's a real shame that there was clearly, as soon as I saw Russia gives 12 to Kazakhstan, at first I was like, okay, well, that could just happen. But when Kazakhstan then gave 12 as well, and Azerbaijan was sort of a bit of a triangle, I was like, okay, right, I can see what's going on here. And I think it's a real shame, because if you think back a couple of years, the one that sticks out to me is the year that Poland and Kazakhstan were absolutely run away and what were way ahead of everyone else. And Kazakhstan stormed the jury vote that year. And it was clear that was going to happen from the rehearsals, that they were going to be up at the front, and they gave each other 12. They gave 12 to each other. And I just think it was a real shame that some countries decided that, I mean, these things don't just happen. They don't just happen. They are these are the sort of things that have to be arranged and discussed. And I'm not being conspiratorial, but there is not, the discussion was absolutely not, oh, we think this country is going to give us 12, so let's give them 12. That's not how it works. These things are transactions, not, speculations. And you really have to start. I mean, we see at the same time, and I have no idea why it's tolerated. Armenia and Azerbaijan have been doing this for years, never gets touched. Russia and Ukraine do this to each other now. I'm talking now like in the adult contest. Serbia and Albania, there's all these different combinations. It really shouldn't be tolerated. They picked on, was it Montenegro some years ago, which was just such a, and they picked, the reason they did that is presumably because it's a small contributor to the contest financially, and it's it's so they can sort of fire a warning shot to everyone else by picking on someone. The reality is the EBU has been too scared to take on the proper bad perpetrators of political voting in Eurovision, and that is the juries at the moment, not the public.
Yeah. I mean, the public has the issues too, obviously, but you absolutely make a very good case there, because the reason why we have the juries is to balance that friendly voting. And it doesn't appear to be happening right now. And it's not always like the most convenient for us to criticize the EBU because, we're at mercy. But it is true, the EBU needs to do something about it. Because the answer, well, what can we do? I'm like, you can do something. The fact that certain countries, and now if it's now feeding over to junior even more and more is an issue. The fact that the same country votes for the same nation like every single year. One year you can say, okay, coincidence. Because when we had the first year, the first introduction of the juries, especially when it started to become transparent in 2014, even Greece and Cyprus didn't give out the 12 points all the time. But then they got comfortable again and people didn't care as much. And now they're back to 12 points, 12 points, 12 points. Something needs to be done. Just changing the juries alone, members, clearly doesn't make the difference. And if they want to have a little bit more of a fix the reputation on this, they need to do something, because now it's becoming part of the junior version. It's icky to me. We don't want that kind of stuff with kids. And I know I don't even like talking about it and bring it down and all of that stuff, but I just wanted to address the elephant in the room, because I think I wasn't the only one noticing that. And again, we're talking more about certain Eastern countries, like ex-Soviet countries, because they're just very much dominating or like prevalent in the junior version. But at the adult version, talk about the Nordic countries, talk about whatever you want to talk. There are other candidates as well. Just right now, they're not taking part in junior. So that's why they're not coming up. So I'm not sure if that's just one thing. That's probably my least favorite part of tonight's show.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you talk about kids, like you have now politics involved in a kid show. Come on, like this should be a celebration for the kids, a start to their careers as the juniors, and just something fun. And politics should just not be a thing in junior. Yeah.
I think what you have to do is you have to start, because I mean, ultimately, the probability of basically, I mean, we have this in some of the fan contests on ESC United. You can calculate similarities across different rankings. You can calculate similarities. And I think the EBU need to start being ruthless. If the similarity goes above a certain point, basically, because there's beyond a certain point, the chance drops to like less than 0.01% that six people will all agree or almost agree in that way. If it drops below a certain percentage chance, or to the point where it is close to negligible, they should just throw out the whole jury vote. Throw out the whole jury vote and either double their televote and just replicate their televote into the jury vote, or alternatively aggregate like they did with Belarus when they disqualified the jury this year. I mean, obviously don't accidentally get the whole thing upside down, but aggregate in that way. You have to do that, and then you have to start slapping fines on broadcasters, and it will stop in 1 year.
I love that idea, because there is no way that all 5 jury members have all songs within like 2 or 3 positions of each other, right? this one has at 4th position, the other one has 2nd, and then it mirrors every single song. I'm like, you clearly had dialogues and conversation. They should all do that independently. And I know they have a notary or someone in there, but clearly they're not really doing anything about. We saw videos leaked before in the past where the show is they're just laughing, talking. There need to be stricter guidelines. I know the infrastructure is a little bit more difficult to get that accomplished, but the integrity of the voting is so important, and I don't think that they're doing enough. And now that it's coming over to Junior, I just wanted to point that out. It does not go unnoticed. And a shout out to Italy, because they either A, have a very unconventional taste, or B, they're really ignoring the favorites. They just don't like, they're voting there as well. Because it seems like Italy, every time, they just don't like the favorites. It is very interesting. I noticed that as well. That could just be coincidence, the taste in music, but I thought it was very funny. I'm not claiming anything here. It just was very interesting.
Yeah. I have one more quick bit, if that's all right, on this. Also, this may seem a bit draconian. Jurors should not be known to each other before the shows. And during the shows, they should not be allowed to communicate. They should not be in the same place, or at the very least, they should be separated by dividers or in cubicles. And they should not be able to communicate either in person or electronically for the duration of the contest. You have to make it so they are judging it purely by themselves. No peer pressure, no outside influences, just them. You should not even know who the other people on the jury are.
I like that. Yes. I'm all in favor of that. The more transparency, the better. I would even give us a reason why you voted for the song. Give us something, because why you put they need to be if you're an expert. I would love to see some sort of reason. But that's I know I'm getting very into the weeds. But again, I'm all about integrity, and I'm not saying everything we're saying needs to be implemented. But there are options. We're throwing things out there. It's just the point is, well, what can I do? It's not the answer. No. That is what we're saying.
They definitely need to look at it.
Yes. Anyway, so any questions in the chat at ESC United? I know I missed some of them. What countries would you like to see in JESC next year? Okay, everyone gets to pick one country that they want to bet. One. Either debut or return. Who would it be? Gabe, do you have one?
I'm going to go with Wales.
Wales.
I liked having Wales. It was something new and fresh, and the Welsh language is something that has had a bit of a resurgence in recent years. I think for Wales and Ireland, it's a really important institution, and why not Scotland as well?
That would be my
sing
answer.
Sing in their own languages.
I would have picked Scotland.
That's a really positive thing.
Yeah, so we agree. So you pick Wales, I pick Scotland, for the exact same reason. They don't need to have the UK in the traditional sense. Heck, then even have England if you want to, right? So I would like the idea as well. Granted, we get more English, but hey, that's fine. That's a language. Roy, who would you pick?
I'm gonna completely overrule you and pick 2 countries. I'm just gonna pick my 2 favorite languages in Europe that sound the coolest. Like Junior, you need to have your own language into the song for 60%, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
I think so.
So I would love to see either Finland or Estonia. I love how both of those languages sound, and I don't think we have any of the languages in Junior Eurovision currently that kind of sound like that either. So it would just be a really cool, fresh air breath of fresh air. Good job, Roy.
Fresh of breath air.
Yeah. So yeah, either Finland or Estonia for me would be really cool.
Okay. Next question. I don't know who posted. Forgive me. I just I kept scrolling up. Especially Roy. Question to you: your feelings and thoughts about your country, the Netherlands, coming in last place.
Okay.
Doing all right.
This might sound harsh, but I don't mean it harsh. I am happy that we got last place.
Harsh.
Because I know, but I am really kind of tired of the way we go by making the songs for Junior. I think our way of selecting the artists is really good. They have a massive auditioning, and they select the best kids, and they put them together in groups or solo or duets or whatever. The songs always sound like they literally go to a database full of stock sounds and stock songs. They just grab that, add a few things here and there, and then just give it to the kid. What I would much rather have is really look at the kids and write the song with them. What do they like? What is good with their voice? And just really come up with something unique. And I think in this year's song, it really shined through. I really like that it included Japanese, like it already has a bit towards what I'm looking for. But if you really listen to the instrumentals, it is so basic and it is so, I don't know, it's so lazy, it nearly feels like. So I kind of hope that this last place could be a bit of a wake-up call for us to really look at how we write our songs and have better songs overall. Like, yes, we will get good results with like happy performances, but I think that's mostly due to the juniors being great performers rather than we actually having an incredible song. So I'm kind of happy in a way that we got last place because I hope something will change now.
So maybe they get, well, they've been doing well at Junior for a little while. I mean, last year they did well. I don't know what the
Yeah,
they've been doing okay, right? Before that.
yeah, no, we've been doing quite well, but you can, I don't know. I just never think our songs are of really high quality. It's just always you can hear what or sounds they kind of used, and they just put them together, and it's like an okay song. And like even with Mathieu, Dans met jou, it's quite a good tune to listen to, but it's just like I don't know. Overall, the selection is always so basic, and so yeah, I don't know. Kind of done with that. So I hope it's a wake up call.
Yeah. All right, we got a few more minutes. Gabe, there's a question for you. Let me see here by Green Oscar. How come Gabe is here speaking facts? Yet he's so quiet in the Discord chat when we need what Discord chat? When we need to his truth telling our people like me in their place. We need him there. What do they talk? Is there like a Discord going on?
I guess they're talking about the ESC United Discord, which you should all join.
We have one?
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's brand new, right?
It is brand new. It
I'm
came
pretty
out
sure.
last
Are you not
week or
in
the
the
week
ESC
before?
United Discord?
No, I didn't know there was one.
Oh, that's perfect.
The team made a decision without me, which I'm wholeheartedly approving of. But I had no idea. I'm not a big Discord user. I use it for my gaming sometimes. But yeah, I'll need to check that out, I guess. So what's your answer, Gabe? Then why aren't you talking more in there?
I'm saving it all for here because you can have too much of a good thing, and you can also have too much of a bad thing. And what you're getting from me here is just the right amount, so that you don't completely hate me, and then I'll come back in a few months, and then hopefully by then your hate will have subsided, and it'll be all right.
All right.
Mostly.
Vaco is asking, who is your most shocking entry result this year, good or bad? So we all get to pick one shocker to you. Shocker sounds always like, I'm not shocked, I'm pleasantly surprised, or something like I'm surprised, I guess. I didn't expect Poland to be that high in second place. That was the biggest surprise to me, I think. Now, I'm not saying it didn't deserve. I just didn't think it would be as... I could see the jury's going for it. I didn't think the televoters being quite as into it, especially being the third song of the night. But clearly, they went for it. So yeah, that was by my biggest surprise. How about you guys?
I would say Ireland, although I didn't see it winning, but second last is a bit harsh, and I really expected it to at least challenge for like the top 10. So I'm quite surprised that Ireland did so poorly. Yeah, that's just my pick.
How about you, Gabe? What's your biggest surprise or shocker?
Italy. I thought Italy would do a lot better. I thought it had top 3 potential, winner potential, just didn't get there in the end. I guess, it happens. Sometimes songs just don't quite resonate for whatever reason, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I could add also France's televote. I thought they're going to do significantly better there. That's another big surprise for me. But as I said, sometimes you just, surprises happen. Gabe, is it time for the UK to return? Should we put a delegation together? Sean is asking. Buddy Sean, do you think you want? And then let me actually also add to that. Do you think the UK should return as the UK, or should you want to have, as you mentioned, more like Wales, Scotland breakout? I think you probably more leaning towards the latter.
So, Sean, firstly, we do a better job than whatever the BBC would put on a team. Let's be real. So, firstly,
that's a low bar, but okay, but yeah, you're right.
That's true, but as me and Sean, we are men of great talent, of course, and so therefore we do a fantastic job. It also, I do quite like the having the idea of having Scotland and Wales in it, and they can't do that if the UK enters. And if the UK entered, it would boot them out effectively. Is my understanding. I think it depends. I'm not exactly sure how it works, because the thing is, with the Welsh entry, if there was televoting, that wouldn't work, because if there was televoting, the Welsh channel S4C, I can watch that here in London, and I would be able to call the number because there's no distinction between English, Welsh, Scottish phone numbers. So the online voting enables it. I would love to see, because I'd love to see the UK back, but I would also like to see Wales and Scotland showing off, their cultures and traditions and so on, which they don't get to do in growing up Eurovision. So it's sort of 50-50, yes, as long as we are in charge. But if not, then I'd rather have Wales and Scotland.
Yeah, it's the Oscars are saying, I trust Sean and Gabe's taste more than the BBC. And I agree, but once again, low bar. Nothing against it, but why is the young host like Roxana or Carla this year always so weird? Like, yes, said Maléna was from Albania. Like, I didn't know that made me. I mean, honestly, every time the hosts were speaking, I prepped or did some other stuff because that was on my break times. Did you guys have a specific opinion about the host? You think they were fine? They did their job? How do you feel about them?
Yeah, I don't know. Carla's questions were a bit odd to me. Like, what do you love about France? To a kid, like,
oh really?
so
I didn't catch the interviews.
Why do you like Paris so much? Those kind of questions were just a little bit odd to me. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool that they have like a junior doing the green room stuff, but just the questions needed to be a bit better, I would say.
That was my favorite part.
Fine.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't interrupt. But I laugh that question because I remember it was 2013, I believe. So it's it's been so long. But I remember Bonnie Tyler was doing her press conference, and a reporter said, "I'm from Lithuania. You like Lithuanian song?" And she's like, "The what?" She didn't know what he was talking about. So it's like these odd questions that you throw at someone because all you can either say is, "Oh, I haven't listened to it yet," "Oh, I like it." What are you gonna say if you ask a question that is supposed to go a certain way? You don't ask that question. I hate that as well. So that's a weird question. It seems very self-indulging as well, in my view. That's but I mean, I don't think they stole the limelight. Some that are trying to be too in their faces. But yeah, from what I'm hearing from the interview parts that I missed, that's not good. So let's talk about 2022. Next year's contest, which in most likelihood will take place in Armenia. If you guys could change something, what do you expect? What should they change? What do you expect from next year's show? Do you guys have any thoughts, Gabe?
Well, what do I expect? Number one, Azerbaijan. That's going to be a whole thing, and they're not going to end up participating, and there'll be some drama about it. I mean, I don't know what the Armenians in chat think, but personally, as somebody who is admittedly not well versed in that conflict, it's a song contest, and countries should be able to participate even when it's in a country which there's tension with, and the same goes for I'm looking at you, Ukraine. But that aside, things I expect next year, I hope Australia will come back. I'd like to see Wales as well. And I think those are actually kind of realistic possibilities. I think that could definitely happen. I think we'll have the usual sort of churn, the usual kind of turnover that we get year on year in Junior Eurovision. So I think we'll see a few withdrawals. We'll see a country tossing the hat in the ring unexpectedly, who doesn't generally participate. So maybe we'll see, I don't know, Moldova or Estonia or someone we don't expect. And the thing I want to see next year, more than anything else, is I want to see Kazakhstan finally win. They should have done it the last 2 years, and they were so close. 2 second places in a row. In my opinion, both of those songs would have won this year. And I think it's time, because it seems to me that the only way they're going to embarrass the EBU into finally doing the right thing and letting them into the adult contest is with a win, because 2 second places in a row somehow wasn't good enough. And I think you really can't have this. Is not a sustainable situation where you have a country which is performing so consistently well in Junior Eurovision, a country that is, screening the contest every year on one of the main TV channels, that is putting so much effort into its entries, you know, they bid to host the thing a couple of years ago, and they're then forced to sit on the sidelines for the adult contest. It's ridiculous. We know the kind of angle that they would bring to the contest. They bring great entries every year. It's time. Stop beating around the bush and let them in.
That was loud.
Sorry.
That's quite all right. For me, it's the thing, like, I'm just thrilled. What I'm looking forward to is Armenia hosting it in Armenia, because I've never been to Junior, and now knowing it's in Armenia, I'm actually considering going, because it's a dream of mine to go there. Now, granted, we don't know where we're going to be at pandemic-wise. You know, we thought by now we would be kind of out of it, and we're still not there. So I will not make any kind of state commitments or anything, but it would be a dream of mine to go to Armenia. So that alone, I just want to make sure that they will host it, because they had a bad run now at the adult version for a few years. This year in 21. Oh wait, they didn't take part in 21. Sorry, my brain was like, what did they? How did they do? But even the years before, like a couple of non-qualifications, which is unusual usually for Armenia. It seems like more of the norm. So yeah, so I'm just looking forward to a fantastic hosting or like job by Armenia as a whole, just like that's in their country. I really hope they can put it together. How about you, Roy?
Yeah, I have a very specific thing because I didn't like how massive this stage was in France. I thought it was way too big for the juniors, and a lot of the artists was kind of swallowed a little bit by it. So I'm just hoping that the stage is going to be a little bit smaller, so that like it's a bit more fitting, and we can have better performances. And yeah, that's my wish, I guess.
That is a good wish. So I can see that. Although, you know, big isn't always better necessarily. Bigger isn't always better. So we need to think about that, because sometimes artists can look lost. I remember Copenhagen 2014. That, I mean, the stage was kind of cool, the square and all that stuff. It was gigantic. I remember being there, like, whoa, sitting in front of it. But then sometimes you're just like, I'm down here. You know, it's just really, really awkward. So especially kids, they're, you know, they're already shorter to begin with. So I can actually see what you're saying there. So I think that's it. So we are very happy for Armenia's win, and this was their second win. I don't know when the first time they won.
2010.
What?
2010.
2010. Okay, so yeah, I'm scrolling here up right now. 2011.
Oh.
No, wait, no, you're right. 2010. I'm looking. 2011 was when they were hosting. My bad. So yeah, I'm just looking at that. So the slogan in 2011 was "Reach for the top." So yeah, it's funny looking at all these. I love the 2007 in the Netherlands. Make a big splash.
Oh yeah, that was like entirely with water drops hanging from the sides, and it was all about water because the Netherlands, water.
Yeah, and then lately it's all about hashtag. You know, not this year. It wasn't a hashtag Imagine. It was just Imagine.
I really liked the little thing with the sparkles flying up representing the Eiffel Tower. Like, I know they have to put the Eiffel Tower in there, but it was so good in my opinion. Like every single song started with, and I was like, yes, let's go, another song.
I need to go back and watch some of the older ones. I watched a few clips here and there, but I've never listened to all of the songs. Kespa is asking, what actually is the reason that Kazakhstan can't be in the ESC? Is it like political reasons? Because then Gabe is right. It's a freaking song contest, not a political discussion. Well, in a nutshell, Kazakhstan is not a full member of the EBU. You need to be a full member of the European Broadcasting Union in order to get the right to take part at Eurovision. Now, you can make the case Australia is not a member either. Both Kazakhstan and Australia are associated members of the EBU. They're not full members. And the only way for an associate member to take part is a special invitation by the EBU. So in order for Kazakhstan to take part is the special invitation. People are making the case, well, you gave it to Australia, give it to Kazakhstan. And they're saying, no, we have no future plans to do so. And that's where people kind of like, well, why not? I understand the difference is Australia has been broadcasting the contest since the early 80s, right? We're talking about 40 years now almost. So they have a long, long history. The history in Kazakhstan is a little shorter. But do we now have to wait another 30-something years for Kazakhstan to join or like get that special invitation when they clearly can easily be asked to join because they're taking part in Junior? That is the thing. And I think at least Roy and Gabe, and certainly most people will agree with us. Like, just let them in. You don't have to wait that long. I think it may have to do, and this is just me speculating right now, I think it all has to do with not getting another country in that will vote politically, because Kazakhstan, unfortunately, the reality is they will vote for Russia, and Russia will vote for Kazakhstan. So maybe that could be another factor that they may take into consideration. But yeah. Oh yeah, my cat, by the way, is sitting right there. She's sleeping.
Yeah, I was I was loving it. Like, that was some good content.
Yeah, she is sitting right there. Hi, princess. There's the other cat, Dustin. He's in the corner, and if I move him, he'll gonna yell at me because he's like super comfy right now. So yeah, so that's in a nutshell. I think the first part are facts about why they're not in. The second part is speculation on my end. So just a little disclaimer.
Yes.
All right. That's it for today. So once again, congratulations to Armenia. It was a close call. I think we're talking about 5 or 6 points or something like that difference.
Yeah,
From
something like that.
Poland. Both the televote and the jury vote were quite close. So while it wasn't a landslide winner, it's a winner. And that's all matters in the end. And it was very well deserved. So we'll be back with our next live stream soon. Thanks again, Roy. Thanks again, Gabe, for joining me here today. And I'll see you all soon. If I don't talk to you before, happy holidays. Say happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays.
There you go. That's how we work. I tell them what to say, and it works. All right, everyone. Have a good day, evening, wherever you are. Bye. Oh yeah, I'm waving too.